The Great Flood, a Korean apocalypse film that swerves into sinister sci-fi territory. The Great Flood, the ambitious new disaster film from South Korean director Kim Byung-woo, begins with a familiar cinematic spectacle, torrential waters engulfing Seoul and thrusting its characters into a desperate battle for survival. Yet what initially seems like a straightforward apocalyptic thriller soon evolves into something far more complex and divisive. A classic disaster setup. From the outset, The Great Flood leans into the visual and emotional intensity of the disaster genre. A record-breaking flood crashes through city streets and into a 30-story apartment building, forcing residents to climb ever higher in hopes of escape. At its heart is Na, played by Kim Byung-woo, a mother determined to shield her young son, John, from the rising waters. This part of the film, the relentless physical struggle upward through waterlogged stairwells, darkened hallways, and chaotic panics, is where the movie's emotional core feels most grounded. Here, survival isn't an abstract concept. It's a visceral, claustrophobic fight for breath, safety, and love. A sudden shift into sci-fi. However, roughly halfway through its runtime, the film pivots in an unexpected direction. It is revealed that Na is not just a desperate mother but a key scientist involved in a top-secret research project vital to humanity's future. This revelation propels the narrative into speculative sci-fi territory, interweaving the disaster setup with recursive storytelling and conceptual ideas more akin to Edge of Tomorrow or Interstellar than traditional calamity films. According to The Guardian, this shift doesn't just add complexity, it makes the film a different beast entirely, possibly something quite insidious. The disaster imagery begins to feel almost like fodder for a larger thought experiment about emotional response and algorithm-driven entertainment, with the narrative looping back on itself and challenging audience expectations. Themes and commentary. At its core, The Great Flood seems intent on exploring not just survival, but the nature of human emotion itself. Na's repeated encounters, helping a trapped girl, comforting a woman in labor, and confronting her own instincts, are not just plot beats but reflections on empathy, choice, and what it means to be human in the face of annihilation. Yet the storytelling is, as critics note, uneven. While some have praised the film's ambition and visual flair, including impressive flood sequences and strong performances, others feel the sci-fi turn overwhelmed the emotional momentum established in the first half. As one review notes, the narrative becomes fractured and at times brittle, leaving the film's thematic aspirations only partially realized. Reception mixed and polarized. Critical response to The Great Flood has been decidedly mixed. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds a middling score, reflecting divided opinions. While some appreciate the audacious blend of genres, others find it confusing or overly convoluted. Audience ratings skew lower still, with many viewers expressing frustration at the abrupt genre flip and narrative complexity. Social media reactions echo this split. Some audience members praise the emotional core and thematic boldness, while others felt misled by marketing that suggested a traditional disaster thriller, only to encounter dense sci-fi layers and recursive plot loops. Final thoughts. The Great Flood stands out for its attempt to transcend the disaster film formula, using the apocalypse as a springboard into deeper existential questions. Whether this shift works for viewers largely depends on their appetite for genre-bending cinema and tolerance for ambiguous, ideas-driven storytelling. What is undeniable, however, is that it's not just a story about water rising. It's a story about humanity rinsing itself down to its most essential elements: survival, connection, and the often messy, unpredictable nature of emotion when everything else has washed away. Be in the know of everything trending today. At The Know.